So I want to share with you the #1 thing that can boost your online sales. And it doesn't even have to be expensive. What is this one thing? Photography. Hey, I'm Pam Duthie and I'm here to help you craft your career with creative marketing and artistic inspiration. And it's a Monday, so it's an Etsy Tips Day. Every Monday I give you tips and tricks on how to improve your selling online, specifically on Etsy for creative people. So if this is something you're interested in, don't forget, come back every Monday. So before we get started, I just want to ask you guys, what do you use to shoot your photographs on at the moment? Is it a posh camera, a cheap camera, a mobile phone? If you can just let me know in the comments below what you use and if you're happy with it and if you feel you're using it to its full potential. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So the internet is such a visual place. Photography is so important. I've already made a video talking about why photography is so important. But if you think about it, a photograph is all you've got to convey to your customer what you're really selling. If they go into a shop, they can pick up, they can smell, they can feel an item, they can see it from all directions. Online, they can only see your picture, and it's also so powerful because if people love it, they'll share it to other sites. Your items don't necessarily have to be the best on the internet, but if the photographs are better than the rest, then people will share you, people will comment, and you will do so much better. But Pam, I hear you say, I'm not a photographer. It's too expensive to get all the kit and to learn how to be a proper photographer. And that is true, but on a budget we can still make so much better pictures. So I've got several ideas that will hopefully help you up your photography game. Now the first method to save you money is to actually get a professional photo shoot. I know this sounds crazy, but if you only have a handful of items that you're renewing all the time or in a range, it might actually be more cost effective to pay someone to do a photo shoot, have them do the editing and everything. You get some fantastic photographs that you can use again and again because these people are the experts. They understand in a second about lighting, about angles, about how to make your item look the very best. So consider this. This might be a big outlay to start with, but they're worth it because they can do it so much better than us. But a more budget-friendly version of this might be to find out if there's any trainee photographers looking for a project. I was lucky enough a few years ago that a friend of mine was studying to be a photographer and she was happy at a really good fee for me to take some fantastic pictures. If you have a look at some of the work that she took, I think it was really lovely and gave me loads of inspiration for what I could actually do with my fuzzies. I also have a video in the cards above showing more detail of these photographs, and in the comments below I'll link to her Facebook page, so if you go over and give her some love because she is an awesome photographer. Another option is you might have friends who are into photography and you might have skills that you can barter so that you can work together and help each other. But if you want to not be bothering other people and be able to do all this for yourself, it's still possible at a budget. You don't need big fancy cameras to do this. I've done all my photography on a range of different cameras. And actually, I'll be honest with you, you don't want to be the person that's got all the gear and no idea. If you don't really know how to use the camera that you already own, if you're not using it to its fullest potential, if you're not wanting to do things on it and it doesn't have the functionality to do the things that you want, then you've not reached the limit of your camera. You're on YouTube just now. Have a Google for the name of your camera and you'll find tons of online tutorials of how to improve your product photography. And if you are at the limit of your camera, if you understand all it can do and you need more, then that's the time to upgrade your camera. Because in reality, if you're just pointing and shooting your camera, there's a huge learning curve to go from that to the top of the range DSLRs. And you're not going to take that good pictures without learning a lot about photography. So learn all you can about your camera and try and think of creative ways to take pictures and think of your set and the lighting. It can be really cool to go outside and get photographs outside at great locations or just on your lawn, but of course this makes it difficult to have a look across your entire shop if, like me, you live in an area that can have really pretty terrible weather, so summer lasts for about 2 days, so you're not going to get the best shots. But it's not unknown for me to pile a load of fuzzies into the rucksack and hike up into the hills to take some pictures on a lovely day. But actually, The phone you have in your pocket might give you some really amazing pictures. If your phone's due an upgrade, look at the photography capabilities of some of the new phones, and it might be that actually some of the not so expensive ones have a fantastic camera on there. This is the give me a minute.
Huawei brings their brand.
Huawei. This is the Huawei P10, and I just got this a couple of weeks ago. It's on a really cheap contract because it's not their top of the line phone, but its photography capabilities are fantastic. Have a look at some of these pictures. If you think of your setting, your lighting, you can take some awesome pictures. For this ballet dancer picture, I just hooked up some photography backdrop fabric that I got really cheap off eBay. I'll give links below to everything I find. I hooked that up to the side of my loft bed in my spare room, strung up some fairy lights, whacked some lights on it, and took some pictures. So once you're happy with the lighting and you've got a subject set up as you want, you're then just going to mess around with angles, position of your camera to find a shot that you think is appealing. And usually with most cameras you want to tap on the subject to get it focused and then click to take the shot. Now for me it's not the most ideal thing. You can see the bar of the loft bed running up the side, but still it took some beautiful pictures with basically a soft light behind because the photography fabric diffuses the light nicely, and then the lights, two lights at front either side, just lighting her up as evenly as I could. So the simplest backdrop is just to drape a piece of fabric over a chair so you've got a kind of swooping shape. I've done something similar just by clipping on this photography backdrop onto the side of the bed and letting it drape onto the table, and some of the pictures are turning up really quite awesome, whether it's with a camera or with the camera on my phone. Even my older phones. This is the HTC Desire, and it's still getting some reasonable pictures. Points to note if you're photographing with your phone or generally with any camera, turn the flash off. You want to use the lighting that you have. A flash can give really unnatural highlights and just look a bit revolting. Make sure that the area behind your picture is not cluttered. So either using a backdrop or just tidying away what's behind, because people will notice what's behind and it can be really distracting. Even if, as in this image, you see I was using my camera and with a wide open aperture so it blurs in the background, it's still a bit distracting. It would be better with nothing there. Focus on the object you want to focus on. With a phone, that often just means tapping on the screen in the area that you want the camera to focus on. With the camera, often that can be clicking halfway down on your shutter button and holding it there until it gets the focus and then pressing the full way. Don't just press the button and hope the camera will guess what you want. You can get yourself some kind of cheap light tents. I've had this one for a long time, which is why it's looking a little bit grubby. But again, cheap off of Amazon or eBay. I'll leave links down below. I also got this cheap light tent thing from Amazon, I believe. It was really cheap. It's got its own strip of LEDs along the top. It's a little fiddly to put together because the magnets it's got in the side to hold it don't always hold in place and falls apart on cue. Fantastic, well-trained box. It's got some kind of sheet of rubber for you to photograph on the inside. This gets a bit grubby a bit easily. But considering there's no dimmer or anything on the LED strips, they're just bright as anything, it actually takes some reasonable photographs. So this might be worth considering if you're photographing small items. If you're photographing something like clothes, you can get reasonably cheap mannequin type, like head mannequins, hand mannequins, and this will look so much better. But even better is to try them out on people. You could have a barbecue, invite everyone around, get them to try on your stuff and photograph them. But just play around and try and find the most appealing way to make pictures with what you've got. As I said, photographs are so important. But it doesn't have to be expensive. So I hope that helped. Don't forget, click on my wee face to subscribe, check out the other videos in my playlist, and come back every Monday. Thank you so much.